Have I got audio?
You do. Affirmative.
Hello. Okay, if everybody will sit down, this thing's pretty hot.
Yeah. Very
If everybody
hot.
sit down, we'll get this thing rolling. Rolling, rolling,
Thank you,
rolling.
Paul.
Running a little bit behind this morning, but that's okay. We'll play catch up. Way too hot.
Turn the knob the other way.
I've never been accused of being too hot. Hello. No. Hello, 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 hello.
Better.
Okay. Okay, thank everybody for coming. Today, we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off. 9:35, running a little bit behind, but we'll be okay. We're going to start off with recognizing our visitors. Do we have any guests today? First time guests. What's your name and call sign? I'm sorry. Cool. Awesome. We'll change that. Organized is something that is very fluid. Okay, we appreciate you. Any other visitors here today? Phil, you're not a visitor. All right. Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Anybody else? Okay, so we're going to kick off with some introductions. I'm going to start over here with Mr. Ed.
Bill, 85F. Lee, Whiskey 5, Hotel in my golf.
Chris, K5, JZM.
Yeah, AJ 7 EFF.
All right. All right. Wake that guy up. Good to see you, Dave. And Denny, WA6BKD, his voice is kind of failing, so we'll give him a break. Galen just walked in the door. Mr. Mark.
Mark, N5AZQ.
And the other Mark.
N5HCR, Mark.
All right, good deal. We appreciate you. I'm sorry? I don't know. No, I'm Wayne, KK5IO. Where'd my screen go? Okay, so, and by Zoom, we have Sam. Morning, Sam.
Good morning, KI5SAM.
And
Good to see
Glenn.
everybody.
Yeah, 5WRQ, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn. And Mr. Pita.
Peter N5UWY for the block.
And Mike Richardson.
Morning, I'm here.
Good morning, sir. And the other Mike, HXT. Okay, and Mr. Matlock,
KE5BYV.
and then Mr. Al, AE5L. We see you, Al, but thanks for joining us all. Okay, let's move right along. We're going to go right into our presentation, and I'm going to give this over to Mr. Clayton so he can introduce our guest presenters.
Yeah. Good morning. I'm Mark, N5AZQ. And we've got a real interesting program this morning. A lot of folks out there take for granted that they've always got internet because it's always there. And that they can always do their emails to other people. That's not always the case. So we have a program this morning that's going to explain to you how amateur radio operators can do emails without the use of internet. And I'm going to introduce to you our illustrious section manager, Mr. Mark Klein, N5HZR, to start off this program.
Thank you all. This is about Winlink, really? Oh, well, I guess we can wing that. Good deal. Let me get this hidden somewhere. Today we've got some assistants, Ed Hatch, is that your name? That's it. That's his name. Ed Hatch, AG5DV, is going to show us some demos. And Larry over here has got W5, let's see, not the bad one, LHG, the good one. Not the bad one. The bad one's HLG. Larry W5LHG is driving the projector in front of you, and no, it's not a race car. It's not a Formula One car. That's his repeater, his gateway that's at his house 15 miles west of here. So they're going to do a demo through there. If you see stuff moving through there, feel free to look at it. Are we seeing a video or radio going through there yet? No, we're not seeing any radio. Okay. If you see something go through there, he's got the system that's 15 miles west of here. As Mark said, I'm Mark, N5HZR, section manager, and we're here to talk about Winlink. And I'm glad you guys are all here. Thank you all for showing. Anybody here running Winlink today? Bob, good for him. Larry, good for him. Not very many. That's good, good, good. How many here are doing contest kind of radio stuff where you have FT8, any of those kind of things hooked up to you have your radio automatically operated? Okay, non-contest, anything FT8 or Whisper or any of that kind of stuff. Raise your hands if you would, please. All right. Those of you that have a radio that's hooked up for that already have all the hardware to do Winlink. So that's the good part. The rest of you, we're going to work on that. Winlink is a software that's generated so that we can do, well, come on. So we can do email over the radio waves. Let's see if this will work now. Oh, it worked 5 minutes ago. We may, yeah, let's see. Nope, I got it. I got it. Thank you. Computers are our friends, and I'm an IT guy, so that's the very bad part of this deal. I've been a ham for 35 years. I've been doing the section manager thing for about the last 8 months. And one of the big things that I hit when I started this were these 5 things on the screen: Aries, NTS, clubs, communications within the group, and communications without the group. You got something, Hank, or are you good? Okay, thanks. And then outreach with the rest of the world so we can try to get more hams involved. Today, we're going to talk about NTS and Winlink and how that's going to help move data across the piece. Today, when I started 8 months ago, we had the HF phone nets that were operational and still are operational, and they are still carrying traffic, radiograms across the state. We have a Superlink UHF net in Tulsa that runs about 50,000 square miles. They have linked repeaters up there that they can all talk on VHF. So if they need to get messages across, they can do that as long as the linked repeaters are in good shape. Problem there is if one of those repeaters goes down, then the links all cause trouble and you've got some troubles in that area. Lots of research. I did lots of talking with the locals, the folks on VHF, the folks on UHF, the folks on HF, that we need to do something different to pass messages in Oklahoma, and settled on this Winlink, the story that we're doing today. In that discussions, talked to a lot of emergency managers, love to talk to Mr. Call. That would be a good thing to add the MRC into this project. But we all figured out this was the way to go through Winlink, and it has exploded over the last 8 months. Today, we're going to talk to you how. Winlink email system uses what's called a hybrid approach. They have a Winlink, an email server. Everybody here has got email. Anybody not have email? No. Good. Normal email programs allow you to send and receive messages, but they only have one method to do that, and that's out through the internet, through the mail process. This system, Winlink, takes the mail client and it puts it with a back end that allows up to 13 different data connections. So you can either connect over the internet or you can connect in multiple ways. So the idea that this is split gives you a lot of ways to move data whenever you're needing to move data. First off, you don't have to take notes. You don't have to panic. All of this stuff is at arrl.org/NTS software. If you go there, that's the place where it's at. I'll have this video presentation there as well. But all the details are there. There's a whole bunch of stuff on setting it up if you want to. Lots more details. We only got an hour today, so it's not going to be as detailed as I'd like, but we will work on that. There's 3 pieces now. Bob in the back and Matt Lewis have done presentations in the past for us. Great presentations. The problem is the world has changed since Bob did his and since Matt has done his. So what you thought you knew about Winlink, if you haven't been playing in the last 6 months, has changed. It's a bunch of stuff. Vera, anybody know what the word Vera is? Have you heard of the word Vera? Yeah, 3, 4, okay. Vera is the encoding method that is now popular. We used to use something called RDOP. That has been deprecated, it's gone. There used to be 3 or 4 other stuff. Actually, it's still there. It is not being developed. Let's put it that way, before I get in trouble by the correction police. We will install the Winlink client, which is like a piece of software. We will install Vera HF, and we will install Vera FM. If you're going to connect over HF, you do the Vera HF portion. If you're going to connect over Vera FM, if you're going to do a 2 meter or a FM, what do you think you're going to do? Vera? There you go. See, you already know how to do this. There are 3 little pieces. The bad news is it's only available on Windows. The good news is it's only available on Windows. So if you're a Linux guy, sorry, buy you another machine. If you're an Apple guy, you got money. You can do whatever you want with it. So you're, yeah, go play some more Word with friends and you'll be fine. So it is only available on the Windows-based machines. For those of you that are wondering how we get high-speed data in a low-speed technology, the FCC has rules on how much bandwidth you can pass, and these seem to violate the rules. We can go as fast as 25 to 52 kilobits per second. And as all good hams that read their Part 97, everybody have your Part 97 in your wallet? Jeff's been reading it today. I know he has. If you read 97, oh, Lee's got it on his phone, so we're good. If you have been reading 97, you can only go a certain speed limit. And every time we have a disaster, the ARRL comes out and says, oh, FCC lets us go a little faster so we can do the PACTOR 4 methods and we can pass a little bit more traffic. The reason is that there's an arcane law that says you can only do 3,000 baud, bits per second, per carrier. And some guy that's way more bored than I am, came up with the idea that says, hey, the rule says you can go in this many hertz, you got to go this bandwidth, you know, they gotta stay in the 3 kilohertz of bandwidth. But it doesn't say how many carriers we can have. So they've split up the audio signal into multiple carriers, and that's the little peaks that you see there. So each one of those is limited to a speed limit, and they just aggregate all that stuff together. So if you're the guy that's going to argue with me, you can't go that fast, it's not legal. It's legal. FCC has gone over this, and they say, yeah, it follows the law. It doesn't follow the intent of the law, but the law was written before we had 300 baud modems back when that law was written. Come on, life's going on. For the technical folks, what they've done is they have these little peaks and they have nulls. They're spaced so that their nulls overlap each other so that they stay out of each other's way, which is kind of fun. Whoop. So that's the Vera encoding. That's the new piece that's there. It used to be Pactor and the rest of them had one carrier and they just sent that data out. They just bent the rules a little bit for this stuff. It is very good. We get lots of good traffic through that thing because of the software that's happening. Oh yeah, I see something happening on Larry's. That's a good sign. Does that mean we're getting through, Ed? Okay, he's breathing again. Live demos are great. Winlink registration key. When you put this on, you'll have a question and it'll talk about a Winlink registration key. Registration is voluntary. It requires that you purchase a digital key from the Winlink folks and you put the little data key in your radio. It is a way that you can support the back end folks. It is not required. It doesn't do anything. It may nag at you. I did mine many years ago and off it goes. Yeah, you cannot. This is not Netflix, Rodney. You can't use my. And it's definitely not Winlink and Chill. I'm going to tell you that's not on the board at all. So they're unique to your call sign. If you put your call sign in, you would have to use my call sign if you're going to steal my Netflix, and that won't work. They suggest a registration fee of $25, 24 bucks a call sign. They also suggest if you want to send them $25 a year, we'll help them out. They have a lot of expenses, and it's run by us for us. Second thing is Vera is licensed. The Vera's program has a license requirement. It is not required. However, they have a different way to track this. They will chop your speed. So if you do not have a license, you're limited to the Mark Klein driving school and you go the speed limit and you go slow. If you do have a license, you can drive like Ed and go fast as the wind. I do not have a license. I don't have one put in. I have a license. I don't have it put in on any of the machines I use because it really doesn't matter on the slow speed. So if the $69 fee scares you, don't worry about it. If you're not passing big traffic, it will still pass through, but it'll pass through slower. These are the numbers. Unlicensed Vera is limited to 175 BPS versus a maximum of about 8,500. Unlicensed Vera FM is limited to 300 BPS versus a max of 25,000. You have to have a really good radio setup to get that speed. So it's not that big a deal, but that math is out there. Install the software like you do any other Windows software. Since you're all Windows aficionados and you love Windows, I know you know how to do that well. Rodney, here's the first 3 letters of my registration key down here. If you want to try to grab the rest, good luck. When you bring it up, there's a normal software that you see. There's inboxes on the left-hand side for the messages that come in, and there's goodies on the top. Obviously, it has N58ZR listed there, which is me. And I say, obviously, it's there because you would think that would be the only one that you can do. Winlink is set up where you can do tactical call signs. So if you get into an emergency situation, you can build, and I'll show them here in the bottom center, something that says auxiliary and tactical addresses. Those are active for us as NTS OK. So if you want to send a message, if you want to send a national traffic system message, you can send it to NTS OK, and Ed's the one that processes those. He will process it on as it needs to happen. So that's our main in and out. But we have addresses for places like the Civil Air Patrol is the one that's listed there. Should there be a problem, we can loop them in and they can then connect via Winlink and have their own mailbox that's not call sign related. If you flip that little N5HZR to one of those others, it will let you send as that person. So I'm sending as NTS OK. So it lets you kind of change your outbound message part. The key is when you start up the software, it will ask you to create an account. You will put in, you don't go to a website and set up your account. I chased that for a long time. Wrong. You put in your call sign, you put in your password, and that will build the account the first time you use it. If you're staying involved in this, you have to connect via the software. You can do it through the internet or radio, it doesn't matter, every 400 days, or you're going to lose your account. Now, losing account isn't fatal. If you lose your account, you just sign in again and off you go. It's not a huge problem, but you can fix it. Should you wish to change your password from here, you click the button and it changes the password. This is a password recovery email. If you goof up your password and you can't get back in, they will send something to that message and they'll let you change your address. So make sure that's a good address for you in case you have a problem with a password. Removed call sign is, delete your account for all of you Twitter people that know that word. That's remove call sign. And the rest is just contact information for you on the piece. That's their properties to set up. There's some other things that's on the bottom here. We'll skim over, which are you can set default returns. So if I send Rodney a message and I send Jeff a message, it'll automatically send me a return receipt when they get those messages. So that's the setup portion, just like an email, nothing big. Once you have your account set up, it defaults to what's called Telnet Winlink. And Telnet Winlink means you're going over the internet. You're not using a radio. You can use the software as long as you have an internet connection. That is one of those connections. These are messages that have come in the past. The bottom right side has a from and to. You can actually see here that I downloaded it via Telnet. So it tells me I picked that up off of Telnet if that's important to you or not. It would also put radio, HF, or Vera FM, somewhere in that range. If you wish to send a message, you hover over these little goodies over here because I never remember what the stupid little descriptions, is that a stop sign or a go sign? But the one on the left is start a new email, presents a panel up, and you can either put the Winlink address, the person's call sign, or the tactical call sign, which is NTS OK, or you can put a live internet email address. So if you're working a disaster and you know that you want to get to two guys that are on the system on Winlink and you want to send it to this mcline@live.com, it will go out through the public internet and it'll actually show up, hit your phone, hit your wherever that comes in. Winlink's connected to the regular mail. You can also do it backwards. If I want somebody to send me a message, they can send it to N5HZR, my call sign, at winlink.org. Bottom is the message. Greetings, my name is Mark Klein, blah, 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 blah. That's just a typical message. Hopefully you all have done that 3 or 4 times by now. One of the big pieces out of this send, here's my message. It says, my name is Mark Klein. There is a template that's here, and Bob Rogers back there is the man on templates. He's shaking his head no, but he's actually done one. So that means he's way higher than I am on this skill. These templates are designed, so if you want to send a lot of traffic without the fluff on the outside, it will let you key in all the stuff with headers in a form that pops up on your web browser. So you can go through, for those of you that are radiogram people or NTS people, you'll recognize that this is an amateur radio radiogram, and you can put in your name, your call sign. For instance, this is my number 60. It keeps track of that for me. I don't have to remember which my number is. I put in my name, my address, you click the local time, it'll pop the time in there, and it will send the message as you need to. This is a radiogram that I sent to Aaron Hewlett. And at the very bottom, you say, where do you want this to go? I wanted it to go out through the national traffic system, so I put in NTS OK, and that information gets out there. Yes, sir. Question?
Pre-fill those fields for you?
It will pre-fill the ones, for instance, the number, the precedence, the handling instruction pre-fills is none. It pulled out my call sign because it knew it was me. The check digit is the number of words. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words are sent in the radiogram. It automatically calculates that. Place of origin does not, but you can pull from a drop down. My browser says the last time you put in Norman, Oklahoma, and you can do those kind of things. So no, it does not on those, but a few of them are done. It counts the check messages, and Eagle Eye Ed got in trouble because he was typing something wacky on an Apple, probably. No, it wasn't Apple. Won't run on an Apple. He found a problem with one of the templates. So we talked to the guy. If you ever do find a problem, there's a really small down here is KB1 TCE. And if you contact that guy, he'll make sure somebody fixes it. So those are the template pieces. That's something that's different. Now, there are a ton of templates. Red Cross has got some, mapping ones have them. Oregon State has their own forms. FEMA forms are there. So the IC, whatever you want to do is already there. So you can just fill them out and send them off. So Galen will be happy. You get your ICS 214 filled out properly. And that works out really kind of neat because it's there and it lets you put it together. When you hook up Vera, when you hook up for your radio the first time, you install those 3 pieces of software we talked about, Winlink, Vera, and Vera FM. Vera has its own setup program. And there's one for HF and there's one for FM. And then there's Winlink that's run. Winlink is the one that's the client, the email client. If you're doing the setup on Vera and you load up Winlink, or vice versa, if you have Winlink running and you go to make changes, and that's pretty much, that's the program that Larry has over on the left screen. That's the Vera software setup. If you do that, you'll see this message that pops up on the screen. It says, unable to open radio serial port, may be in use by another application. That's a warning. We understand that. That's a warning. So if you see that message, that means you in Vera and you in Winlink are using the same files. No problem. That one took me a while to look, it's no big deal. You just hit OK and go on. It took me try to figure out what it works. Both of them work separately. Wasn't smart enough to realize they were just colliding with each other. Vera FM or Vera HF license, if you get that $69 license, you simply put it into the call sign and the registration key. So you can put multiple call signs and multiple keys in there if you're running a multi-operation. This Winlink software is also used. It's generated by hams for hams, but it's also used on 114 radios across the country for the Department of Defense. They have their own setup on their own frequencies, and they use that specifically for their own system. I talked about a special radio for the higher speed. On the bottom, they show you how to set these up. If you want to do a 96 or a high-speed radio, you have to get a good connection. You can't just use a mic connection. You have to go to a good connection into an IF of a radio. So there are radios. Larry, does your TYT have a high-speed option? Haven't checked it? Okay. There are some that you can get a high-speed data into those, and just a little option to get them connected up together. So this is how you actually hook them up to make it all happen. This software sets up and it connects as a sound card. So if you're used to any of the stuff like FT8, you are all ready to go. You've got your sound card ready. You've got your devices input and output. I have mine set to the microphone here, and Ed chastised me before because the audio input is way too loud, but this was just me talking so that I could get the meter up in the air. You can see Larry's is set over there at 0 VU because nobody's transmitting. As you transmit later in our demo, you'll see it go up and make it happen. So here's where you connect to the the radio to the Vera FM piece. Final connection is you have to figure out a way for the computer to key the radio. So that's push to talk, PTT. It depends on how your radio is set up. You can set it up as cat. And no, that's not a dog hating cat. That's what's your name of your cat, Phil? Sonic. That's Sonic keying the radio. If you zap the cat with enough voltage, it will push the radio. That's not how that works? Oh, shuckies. That's called computer attached something. There you go. The signal comes over the CIV if you're hooked up that manner. There's USB connections. There's a lot of ways to connect your radio up. This is a radio. This is Mr. Grizzle's EOC radio, and it has got a USB connection on the back. So that's how it connects. That one connects up to it. You can hook it up with a COM port, where you can either have a little piece of hardware that clicks the return to say the ready to send or the DTR data terminal ready line, or you can do both of those. Or you can do Vox. If you have one of these Bofang radios, you can hook up the speaker and the microphone to your computer. You can turn this on Vox and it will transmit the radio whenever it gets a voice operated transmit. So it will actually key the radio and make it out. It's a poor man's way to set it up. So lots of ways to do that. You have to pick one, you have to make it work. If you have it, if your radio won't key, that's where you have to go fix it. The radio has to connect to it to make it happy. Define your session. I don't like this word, but they love it. We talked about earlier the Telnet Winlink, and that's how the computer connects to the thing. The back end services is set up on these 13 items that are in place. The top ones are the ones that are more useful. The bottom ones are the crazy going out of business kind of sale at the bottom. But Telnet Winlink is the ones on top. That's if you use the internet. So if you're connecting via Ethernet, that's the connection you would use. So if you're at home and you want to practice and you don't have a radio connected, you can get an account and start sending email using Telnet Winlink. That's the way it defaults. Now, since Jeff has an Iridium Go satellite radio phone, don't you, Jeff? Certainly. Iridium is the satellite-based radio systems, telephone systems. You can have a connection that connects to a sat phone and make this same thing happen. That's one of the options. We like the two right above that, Vera HF and Vera FM. So if you're going to do an HF connection, you want to connect Vera HF. If you want Vera FM for a local one, that will work there as well. RDOP, we talked about before, and that's what Bob and Matt were talking about. RDOP is an older protocol that they have deprecated. And you and the other guy have to match. So whoever you're connecting to have to be on the same system. So if I'm an RDOP person, I need to connect to an RDOP person. If I'm a Vera HF person, I have to connect to a Vera HF person. So you have to get those protocols to match. Anybody know what a good Pactor modem? I don't remember. $4,000 Pactor, are they 4,000? Bob's nodding yes. $4,000-ish is a Pactor modems. And if you want to spend money and get the hardware stuff, where you get a high dollar Pactor modem, that's really great, but you're not going to go as fast as you are if you buy the $69 license. So you can save $4,069 if you go the Vera FM route. These things in the middle are P2P, and that's person to person. So if you're the guy that says, Mark, I don't trust the internet, the whole thing's going to go to pieces and that we're going to be in problems and I can't get to anything, this P2P is for you. This is person to person. So if I have a radio set up with Vera HF, I can connect the P2P, and I can connect to Bob straight. If I can hit him with a radio, I can connect to him straight. Doesn't require any external servers, doesn't require anything else. It is very inconvenient because I gotta know who I'm at. They have to be set up the same time I am, and I have to reach them with a radio signal. So that's P2P, in case you have that idea of trying to go direct to somebody. This is just a Winlink session. It will pop up and it'll show you stuff on the screen. This one is pulling my call sign, and these are the tactical call signs that I have requested to come to my system. And it says it connected at 4:46:11 and it ended at 4:46:12. So bang, 1 second, it pulled all that and life's good. So that's there to tell you what's going on. Ed, I'm sure, was using that a lot this morning. They were having a problem making a connection, and it would give errors and do those kind of things there. The neat thing about Telnet is that I have mine set to auto reconnect every 30 minutes. So it just connects and pops the mail every 30 minutes. I think you can do it on a radio. Will it let you do it on radio or not? You know? FM will. So FM will let you do that every 30 minutes. HF will not. I'm sorry, what? I forgot what you said. What? You mean like mailbox memory? That's on the software Winlink Express. There are system folders on the left-hand side that you can store. It automatically comes into the inbox. The outbox is obviously the outbox portion, and then you can drag them to whichever box you want. Saved items, deleted items, you can delete them, it'll pop up there. And then I have made my own personal folders that I can drag stuff in. So if it's an official NTS message, I have 2 folders built. So if you can do it just like your email stuff, you can get as crazy as you want to. They have a way you can back this all up. So in the settings, it'll hit back up and it'll make a whole mess and copy them all over there. So yes, good question. Good question. Good question. When you're on Vera HF, you have a whole bunch of systems. Where's that slide? Way in the back. Okay, I'll get it later. There's a whole bunch of systems that we have available to us. How do you pick which station you want to go to? That's always a big question. They have a piece here on the HF channel selector that you can say update via the internet, or you can update it via the radio, and it will give you the person's call sign, the frequency they're operating. These are the databases. These are the gateways. These are the people you talk to, the mail servers, the mode of operation, their grid squares, if you want to find out where they are, and the hours of operation that they have. It'll also tell you that this one's 135 miles away from me and at bearing 176. So that guy's straight south of me in 135 miles. You can use these to pick where you're at. They also do all of the probability stuff and the vocab and all that other nonsense, and they give you a score, and I'll tell you those scores are usually very accurate. So if in this case, must have been at night because it's selecting 80 meters as a priority to try to make stuff through. So it will actually let you pick it. You simply click on one of these guys and it will change your radio to that frequency and start transmitting, make it all happen. How you can set up your radio. We asked earlier about who's got something set up. 3 ways you can do it. One is a direct USB cable. This 590 has a direct USB cable that goes into the back of the radio. You can set up with something with a digital connection, whatever you have. You can set up a signal link. Anybody have signal links? Anybody have one laying around they're not using? Usually, oh, Denny's got one here we brought. Good. We can raffle it off. Thank you very much. No, I don't think so. Or if you go to w5nor.org/digital, you'll see a bunch of lower cost options that are available. This is one that I have. This is about I think it's $50 now. It used to be $45. $50 now, and it is a kit. When you buy this card, it comes with the processor chip already soldered onto the card. The through-hole stuff is all in a bag, and it's the old Heathkit days. You put the thing together. I think for $15 you can buy one. $15 extra, you can buy one that's already assembled. But it has a USB connector on the back side, on the left side here, that you can see that little silver thing is where the USB This little USB connection goes into the device. Computer crystals, interfaces, radios, amplifiers. The neat thing I like about this one is that it has a lot of controls. You can actually up and down connect the audio. So if you've got a radio that's really hot, you can lower it, or you can raise it if they need more signals on both the microphone and the speaker. Output on this one is set to a DB9, and then you just make a cable that connects to your radio, the microphone, the speaker, the ground, and the push to talk are the ones you need to do it. They also have these set up with the 6-pin DIN connector. So if you have a 6-pin DIN radio, you just get the other option, and it has a different connector on the back. So you can use those if you have one of those. But again, I've got all those listed at w5nor.org/digital. And one of those is our friend Peter Laws has got one, which is a, I don't know, $10 little deal. And all it has is 2 little transformers and an opto isolator switch. So if your audio is in good shape, and you can just put a little transformer that transforms the audio into the computer, and a opto isolator chip that will keep you from blowing up your radio or your computer should one of them other ones misfail. And that's $10. Signal links are what, 160, 50? 125. So the signal link's 125, and that has a lot more options, a lot more support. The $10 option has no support, and you put it all together. This one's right in the middle at 45 and lets you do a lot of stuff with it. These are small enough that you could actually tuck it into a radio. So you could build a device and actually just put the thing in the radio, pop a USB cord out the back if you want to play with that. They also have a plastic box that will go with that, make it happen. Vera FM sessions, we talked earlier about the HF. Where do you find your signals? This one is W5LHG, and this is Larry's, which is over there in Blanchard, America. It shows from where I was, it was 24 miles at a bearing of 263. So I must have been at the house. I can hear his signal on a Bofang in my, just standing in the driveway at the house, and it's loud as heck. So Norman, yeah, Norman should be, Mark can't hear it. Mark's deaf. That section is, so that's the FM. It gives you options that are available. Right now, the only thing that's a good option for us is Larry, 142 miles on a VHF haul. Unless you got a really big antenna, you got some problems. We'll talk more about how that works here in a second. The remote servers connect to the clients. You're the client in a bunch of different ways. We talked about all those layers. They have 3 layers in their system. So this is Winlink. They have common message servers, which are the big servers in the sky, and they have clients, which are us at the bottom. The common message servers in the sky are on Amazon. There are 3 of those that are running all times. They are all integrated. If Amazon goes down, there's a 4th one that's running in somebody's basement. No, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in San Diego where they have a 4th one that is a hot spare. So whenever Amazon goes down fully, this one pops up and takes off and running. They have been over 13 years, 99.9 or 99.8% up and running the entire time for the last 13 years. So that includes when they're running them off of somebody's garage for the first 10 years. So these servers, these mail servers, go through the internet and they connect to the gateways. The gateways are the Larrys and the other people. Jeff up in Tulsa has one of those. So we connect to the remote servers by a radio. The remote servers connect to Amazon to the cloud. Now, if the remote server loses its internet, it will do one of 2 things. It will either shut off and it won't let you talk to it anymore. It says no more, we're closed. Or it will be what's called a hybrid system. And it will take your message and then relay it out on a different radio channel to a second area. So once your message gets there, they'll take care of it out the door. So if something falls down, Larry loses his internet at his house, his system will stop receiving traffic, and we don't have a bunch of mail showing up where it shouldn't be showing up. So these 3 layers are the pieces. The client is us, CMS is Winlink folks, and the remote gateways are people like Larry that have technology that they have up and running that they wish to share with the rest of us. Here's where we go, Vera FM. We started this on Vera HF. We talked to a lot of emergency managers and they said, we need digital, we need higher speed, we need it locally. We currently have a gateway in Broken Arrow, Muskogee, and Blanchard. Those three are up and running. Question? No. Those three are up and running. We have a fourth one that's in Prague, which is a little lower in altitude, but it's up and running as well. We have chosen that they all on 145.03 megahertz. So 145.03 is where they are at. Those are operating great. Larry's is in Blanchard. Ed has caught it here. It's what, 3 watts in from your car here at the building here. So coverage is very good. I can hear it from my house. Mark can't hear it from his, but life's good. We are working on, these are known to be working on Vian. I don't know if that one's probably not up yet. Guthrie, East Norman, and Northeast Oklahoma City. The Northeast Oklahoma City is by the zoo at the EOC up at that operation. East Norman's going to be at my house. Guthrie's going to be up at Guthrie location in about a 60-foot tower up in the Guthrie area. Our goal with all of this stuff is to put the communications away from the areas we think are going to have the need for it. So if something comes through and tears up the downtown area, these peripheral areas will still be there to operate. Our plan for this is that if you're working in a 25-watt mobile radio in a vehicle, like emergency manager folks do, you will be able to hit something all over both the Tulsa and the Oklahoma City areas as the data goes through. We have moved, the maximum files on this are 120K, 120,000 bytes. We did a test through from Ed to Larry's the other day, and that 120,000 character file took 7 minutes to transmit. So it's a 7-minute connection. Yes, sir. Comstocks. We thank everybody who's doing all this stuff. It has exploded because the need is there, that the digital stuff is in that area. What we understand is that the emergency folks believe they're really good on voice. They need some data. They have no data methods to do this. The Oklahoma State is broke up into 12 different regions. We have 12 different groups that monitor the traffic to do NTS, National Traffic System traffic. And these are the counties that are involved. So if you're wanting to do any of your own, if you want to get involved in National Traffic System, there's a ton of people that that are involved, and we'd love to have you take and receive messages. We're working on a plan to do a fun type deal to put more traffic on NTS in Oklahoma. The state of Texas has, it's down now because the guy's moving, but they have NTS trivia, and NTS National Traffic System trivia.com. And if you want to get involved in that, once you get on the Winlink, every week you can send a message. You put the trivia question out there and you can send messages back and forth. So that's a fun way to use this when it's not in weather. So these are our county areas that we're going. We have these 12 people are being monitored to make that happen. Incoming traffic. We route incoming traffic to the nationals from the National Traffic System through Radio Relay International. Anybody here know what RRI means? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I didn't think so. RRI is a group of hams that pass traffic every day. They have the traffic nets and they make the stuff happen in the background. So if we get a message aimed for Oklahoma, these guys dump it to us on Winlink, and then we transmit it to the proper district in the state, and then the district person gets it to the end location. 7290 is another traffic net. Anybody know 7290? Ah, there we go. Oh, more, yeah. 7290 down there, Joanne has a Winlink opportunity, and should she not be able to pass any traffic, she will route it to us as well. So we are connected to the rest of the country with both of those connections. And we know that the RRI works because Ed got his tail chewed the other day for doing something wrong. I don't remember what you did. Wrong checkbox on something. That's right. It's one of those icons I said you don't know what the difference is. One of them's forward and one of them's forward without change. And he was hitting the wrong one. So we know it works. We get messages in and out and it makes it happen. Outbound messages. So if you're doing this and you're playing around, send a message to NTS OK. Ed is the one that passes it. I'm back up on that. But if you want to pass a message to somebody, that's at least a friendly area where you can get a message sent to somebody. That's the way to go. Vera Hf Gateways. These are the gateways that are nationwide. You can see one up here in Northeast Oklahoma City. That's Jeff Scoville, AE5ME, Alpha Echo Mike Echo, Alpha Echo 5 Mike Echo. And he's got a gateway for all, for 40, 80, and VHF up and running. Now, my first thought was we needed, by gosh, fill this state up with gateways. And then I started to think about it and do the math. It's not important for us to have gateways. It's important that we have gateways available to us, because getting a message via HF from here to Tulsa is tough, or from here to Oklahoma City is tough. But you can connect from here, and the ring for us, we'll see the data later. Colorado, Ed hits Colorado, Iowa, Indiana, or Illinois, and South Texas are his stations that he can hit really regularly. Now, we probably should put in a gateway or two more so that we help the people up in the Dakotas so that they can get some stuff in. But, you know, both of the people that are up in the Dakotas aren't going to be doing that. Here's the data I talked about. I went through and did an analysis. I got with the Winlink people to get the data. These are thousands of, I think it's 10,000 transactions that I did for a month's data. And this shows you the number of transactions and the distance from transmitter to receiver. So I was trying to get an idea of what the distance was. So down at the bottom, it says 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers. So really, HF 80 meters is good for 100 to 400 kilometers local activity. Nobody's surprised? Anybody surprised? No, not really. But I was kind of surprised to see how smooth a chart that is. This is now 40 meters, and it shows the sweet spot to be in the 600 to 700 to 800 meter range, or kilometer range. Well, makes sense. 40 meters is a little bit longer band. That's where Ed hits Iowa. He hits Illinois. He hits South Texas and Colorado repeatedly. I don't know. I think you said what, 2 days now that you've missed in the last 6 months for not being able to hit a server due to propagation. So he's had a couple days that he's had troubles with. He's gotten to be able to get in on VHF during those days, but HF has had a couple hiccups on 2 out of 120 days. So you're looking at less than 1% days. Yep. Yeah.
I know from experience, and Ed over there will laugh that it's not the radio that's as much important as it is the antenna and how high you get it up. But FM requires you got to be up on the line of sight. Yeah, but HF not so much. So you don't get your FM high enough on that, your line of sight to the next week up like Larry, you're not going to get it.
20 meters here you see is in the 2,000 2,000 kilometer range, what you'd expect for 20 meter range. Have you ever used 20 meters, Ed?
I do Harlan.
Harlingen, Texas, he gets 20 meters. Okay. So if you want to get involved with your radio stuff, nice thing is every night at 7 p.m. I get a record of all the transactions that happen, and I'm aggregating all those. So I'll see you on the air. Love to see you on the air. Hit the light if you would, Mark, please. This is a 590. It's hooked up by a USB. It's a 100-watt radio. That's what Bob and Matt did their demo stuff with, based on 100-watt stuff. That's chump change. Phooey on 100 watts. That's crazy. That's Herald money. For For those of you who know the Herald, that's the 1500 watt range. Ed has a 705 radio, and it's good for, let's do a quiz here. How many watts does a 705 put out? 5 or 10. 5, yeah, or less. 5 normally, or 10 when you have the extra battery plugged in. So that radio is less than 10 watts. That's what he uses to pass traffic HF all over the country. He's going to do a demo now. He's got a loop antenna outside. And are you going to do HF first?
Yes.
Hit your little button, please. Okay. Hang on. Excuse me, Hort. Come on. There we go. I got to turn mine off. So this is the live demo. It's his software. He's connecting. Yeah, we'll do some audio here to make it sound.
The interesting thing about if you're connecting, this is especially true on Vera HF, is that you would assume it's going to sit there and connect right off. It will sit there and do it now. It will attempt the connection 15 times by default. And you sit there and say, well, if I can't hit it 15 times, well, then I can't hit it. Not necessarily, because the station we're hitting now, KD7 UHR in Collinsville, Illinois, doesn't mean it's actually that the gateway is actually listening all the time on your band. He's switching band to band to band as he monitors different bands. So like this kind, we just struck out on 15 attempts. It could be the band's gone away from you, or it could be they're passing traffic somewhere else or on a different band. So don't give up easy. You need to be patient. Yeah, make sure it didn't fall over. We're doing this off that loop that's sitting out to the side on 10 watts.
It's so slow, Ed. How practical is that in case of an emergency?
By slow, as in connections. It runs through this. We're on our second batch of 15, so most of the time it's not a problem. If I've got a dire emergency where I need to go through, I'm going to go internet first if I've got it. If I don't, then if I miss him a couple different times, I'll switch. Now, if you're on a loop, that's a little more difficult just because of the tuning stuff goes. But at the house, I'm on a compromised T2FD, sitting at maybe 20 feet. And it dog legs down to 4 feet. So I'll sit there and switch off on that. And usually if I can't hit 80, I'll try 40 and usually connect right off, or I'll hit 20 and hit South Texas. So normally it's not a problem unless you're trying to do demos. I've hit him three times this morning while setting up. I've hit Collinsville. You have a null out the broadside. Loops transmit along the axis of the loop. So if you do get that null, it's definitely there, which actually helps you when you're tuning it, since you're going to be in the field. But it really works pretty good. I said this was working fine until we can switch over and hit Larry. That's the other thing too, he didn't mention, but if you want to get a license for Vera, one license does HF and FM. You don't have to buy a license for each one. Okay, Larry, I'm gonna switch over to you. Okay, demos.
Yeah. We're using the antenna off my truck. And you should see it show up on the left mark. There you go. So that was that was a VHF transmission outbound, ready to go. Let me turn mine on. And on the left, you can see Ed's stuff. On the right, you can see mine. No, that's K5SRJ. Look at that. Mike got it working. Said program updated this morning. I'm so glad he brought that up. This program updates about twice a week. They do a lot of research, they do a lot of development, and they make a lot of that stuff happen. Winlink. Yeah, this week Vera also updated, but Winlink, those guys are really on it, and they do a lot of that stuff from the military side. They've got that military set up, so it makes it easier for them to come down to our stuff. So demos are there. On mine, on the right-hand side, you can see it's doing a pull. It said it pulled 185 bytes. And we should have a message. Where's his red button? There's his red button. So there's the message that came from Ed, and he's got a message at the bottom that says message receipt requested. So his system set up to ask for a return receipt requested for me, and mine is set to automatically do that. So mine actually probably has already sent that message is correct. When the system gets it, yeah. Yep. Which, no, I don't. They don't have a read receipt. No, my problem with read receipts are always vague, because if I click on it and zip to something else, people think I read it. No, I didn't. I just hit the wrong button and I skipped it and I ignored that dadgum message from Jeff again. Anybody have any questions? We'll be happy to help you set up at Elmer Knight or further, or push the network farther. Hank, sir. Yes, with picture of damage, yes. How good is it at sending picture files? It will send whatever you give it, up to a maximum of 120K, 120,000.
We test that image was the old channel 4 test pattern image that Mark had. So we wanted to try it on that image, and it sent it and did fine. It was at below the limit. So the big thing on that is compress it. Don't try to send a snippet of 4K video, or I don't need a high res. Then you can, on an iPhone, all you do is tell it, do not use high res. If you got an iPhone, you had a choice of which size you're going to keep it. Just choose small. And they'll actually reduce that down and compress it so you don't have a large file, and just keep the image size down. It'll do just fine.
Yeah. 7 minutes. We did that.
On the large file.
120,000. That was VHF. VHF was 720 seconds. 7 minutes. No, 840 seconds. 7 minutes. And that's, if you look at the stated numbers for, I think that was 6 minutes and 40 seconds. If you did the math, is what we were expecting it to be, and it came out to 7 minutes. So it's right on the money, and that depends on airwaves and all that other stuff. So that's there. Now there is a faster system if you get the faster radios that will cut that down in a fourth. So the possibilities are in a fourth, and that's what we're aiming for, is those higher speed radios on VHF side of that. Good question. Good question. Did you guys see the stuff on the right? You want to do another VHF? And did they see the squiggles on the right computer or on the left computer? Something has a 9600 baud data rate. Whatever, as long as it's classified for a 9600 baud on that piece. And it just as on cue, it says Vera update is available. Larry, you're behind, man. What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh,
Two versions behind.
oh, yeah, they do keep this stuff up and it is amazing, this the signal noise stuff they can pull out. It's like Whisper. They can go down into the noise to get this stuff out. You'll see it as soon as Ed gets the right antenna switched up. You'll see it on the left-hand side with the little dots, and the little dots on the left-hand side represent carriers as they go through in the data that's piecing it out. Similar to the Quam story of the VHF. So here's the one on the right is Ed. And the one on the left is what's received. You can see the little dots showing up there. So if you can decode all those dots. Yep, that's the 4. It's shooting it out 4 at a time. There's 4 pieces. Let's say it quit talking. It quit listening. Any other questions that you have? Any other burdens, barriers that you can think of?
Are there any tiers, priority tiers for like EMs and where they get priority on?
There are no tiers, automatic tiers. There are radios and anybody can connect. And just as we all know from HF radios, if somebody parks on field day, they start calling CQ field day on top of the frequency where that gateway is. Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. But there are hundreds across the state country. There you go. Hundreds across the country that make that happen. So you can see the audio levels bouncing around on the things, making them transmissions. Life's good. That you typically don't bring those displays up when you're doing operations. You usually only look at those when you're doing maintenance kind of thing. Anybody else? Anything else? Questions? Well, I'm happy to talk later one-on-one and make that happen. But if you at least go out to winlink.org and download that software, put it on your machine and get an account set up. At least you'll be there on the telnet side and we can always communicate to you. There's a lot, disasters are not going to be flattening the entire earth. They're going to be localized disasters that are out there that come through, a la the fire, the tiny fire up there at the northwest side of the city. You're going to wipe out small areas and the rest of us all be in great shape, but we're there to help whenever the other teams fall down. And can you do it from your phone? Okay, remember my big statement about Winlink software? It's only available on Windows. Not anymore. Yeah, they're all gone. There are no more Windows phones. No, you cannot do it off a phone. Now, I keep telling people, I know the developers, if you want to, start writing some code for your own little platform, we can make that happen.
But you can get Outlook.
Right. It is Outlook's available, but Microsoft has written that for the phones, and there is no impetus from the group to do anything but the window. They're wanting one development channel. But yeah, it's possible, but no, for this, no, it ain't gonna happen. No. The RDOP stuff was mostly Linux based, and that's where they got off into that rat hole, and they just learned that there are so many different channels on Linux and Unix and all that kind of stuff that they just don't want to follow that route. Now, if somebody wanted to build it and then said I would do it, I would sure somebody would let them in. I mean, I've got an API key, so I get access to all the backend API stuff. If I choose to make messages across that, I guess I could build my own software. I don't have that much time. Anybody else questions? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We want to thank both Mark and Ed for this morning's program. They really did a great job on that. We'll leave the setup up here front for a while. After the meeting, you can come by and ask questions if you like, real quick. And you'll see how they've got their setup. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to our Mr. President here. We'll go on with our meeting.
Okay, let's everybody take a 5-minute break, get up, stretch your legs, 5 minutes. Okay, I just want to add, please avoid walking in this area right here because this is a major trip hazard. Tom? Okay, if everybody will take your seats, we'll get started. We've got a lot to talk about. Hopefully we'll get through this pretty quick. We're running a little bit behind. Yeah, we're always behind. Okay, I was making sure our secretary was ready. Okay, first on the agenda here, let's look. I'm gonna kind of whiz right through some of this stuff. Dues are due, please see Larry. To pay your dues, if you haven't paid the dues, please pay them or go online and pay by PayPal at w5nor.org/membership. I didn't even have that wrote down here. Wow, okay. So I would also encourage you to join the ARL if you're not a member of ARL. ARL, besides giving us a pretty good magazine that you can read, they're also in a continuous fight to protect our frequencies. Right now, the FCC wants to sell off our frequencies and give it to the 5G commercial bands. So I can encourage all of you to join the ARL and help in that fight. If you want to read the minutes from these meetings, you can go to w5nor.org/minutes and read them online. We also have a SCARS YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know, W5NOR, just search in YouTube. Okay, so a second. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is the Green Country Ham Fest. Mark's going to bring it up on the screen here at some point. So the Green Country Ham Fest is, for those of you that's been and those of you that's not been, I encourage people to go to that. That's a pretty good one. It's up in Claremore, which is the other side of Tulsa. You'll see it up on the screen there. And one thing that you will notice is the date, which is April the 8th and 9th. April the 9th is also the date of our SCARS meeting. So we've got a conflict here. A lot of people have told me they want to go to this Ham Fest, but they don't want to miss the SCARS meeting. So what we want to do is move the SCARS meeting 1 week out from April the 8th to April the 16th. Now, we've done this in the past for HamCom, which is no more, but hopefully that will come back at some point. So it's not something that we haven't done in the past. It's just something that we need to all agree on. So this is a good Ham Fest up in Tulsa, in Claremore, and I encourage everybody to go to it. I've been to it. It was really good. So I want to entertain a motion that we can move the April the 9th SCARS meeting to April the 16th. We got a motion, got a second? Any discussion? Okay, we will double check with the fire department, make sure we don't interfere with that. Either way, we have other options. We can move the meeting to. Galen has said we can move it to his EOC as well. So any more discussion? Okay, all four, raise your hand. All opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. All right, let's go to Larry Goodwin with the finance report.
So as of the first of the month, we had $23,259 in the account. I have made a couple of deposits since then. Deposit $269. And then about, I think it's 800 and something, 876
that was deposited through from PayPal, from your membership dues. And so this is as of February the 3rd. It is a little bit larger now by about $1,000. So payments are coming in, both PayPal and in person. We've had a number of people that have signed up their first couple weeks this month, both on PayPal and in person. So, and those numbers are not reflected here. They will be reflected at the end of the month. So at next meeting.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate it. You want to go over here to Ed for the TIC committee?
Okay, well, February has come in obviously with a little bit of noise this year, thanks to our son. Other than that, everything is operational. We're still working on the dog barker. We've got, we keep getting some reports. Thanks, Mike. All those stuff comes really handy. Mark is running a series of 48 transforms on the audio to see if we can determine whether this is a recording or not. But we're also getting some directional input. So we're getting more refined to find out which dog is getting on the air without a license. So we'll hopefully know more here real soon, but we'll keep hunting them down. But if you have reports, give me your location, signal reports, time. We keep narrowing it down. Sure.
I understand that our particular problem is because of our frequency, that the repeater has a problem because.
Noise floor.
And
Yeah.
I can't hit our repeater, but I can be inside my house on a handy box and hit crossroads and it's crystal clear.
Right. Luckily, we have. It's disturbing. I say disturbing. It's an odd thing of science. This effect is not just W5 NOR. Luckily, we have a good communication pathway with our section manager. Mr. Section Manager, how many repeater owners have you talked to have this problem?
In Oklahoma, probably about 4 that I've talked to. Elk City area has got some that do the same thing. It's the noise floor coming up. We've seen it. We've measured it as much as 18 dB going up. So what happens is whatever the noise floor is today, add 18 dB, and tomorrow morning it'd be higher. And if you have a low signal device and you've got to get 18 dB higher than you did before. Midwest City runs it and they call it a high power day. And I'd heard that for a couple of years. I thought, what are they talking about? And I had that same discussion with them and they said, oh yeah, we got to use high power this weekend. It's and they didn't have the technical side of that. And we talked it over and said, oh, that's the same story out of that one. But it's the noise floor that's coming up. Propagation, as we talked in the earlier part, propagation is effective at VHF, UHF. If you are a Tamitha Scove person, I've probably a year or two ago, I sent a whole bunch of details to her and 4 other solar weather people. She's the one that came back and said, you guys are tracking this on UHF, VHF? I said, yeah. She said, oh my goodness. Well, every time she makes a reference to my VHF guys tell me, that's us. We're the ones that are getting that data. We've worked with the Aurora Electrojet folks, and we can correlate the Aurora Electrojet events to these, and that's linking Aurora Electrojet. If nobody has over-the-air antennas anymore, but if you have one on channel 5 disappears every once in a while. And it's the same area. Patrick, I always want to call him Patrick Swayze, and that's not right. Patrick Roberts he's the engineer for KGOU. And last time I looked, I didn't see it on the website, but they actually had warnings on there that if you have a difficulty picking up our signal today, it's a high atmospheric day, and pull us up on kgou.org and that'll pick it up. So it is in that band. It's not widely studied, but there are others that do it. The days that we're not having a problem, the other machines are having a problem, that might have a problem. So it is noise floor, and you can watch it. Ed's charted it. Oh yeah, it's 12 dB up or 18 dB up. And if you've got a radio that can see the background noise, take a look at it. It's kind of fun to watch.
And those repeaters have what in common?
Usually they're higher in the band. They're in the 147s, 148s portions is where they're typically. It's coming down. It seems to be coming down from 200 megahertz down to the higher bands. It grabs them first is the ones. And there's
the fix we could have for that obviously is to switch frequencies. At the same time, there are no open coordinated frequency pairs in 2 meter range.
Yeah.
The last I heard, and our Orsi rep would tell you that Orsi hasn't met to even update that. So
Have we, it kind of abandoned the stadium?
no, the stadium has not been quite as accessible since COVID and a variety of other issues, not been in security. We have that project in the process at the moment.
Yeah, and Chad's chasing that, and he said he was ready to get back on it again. So we'll work at that.
That should help mitigate a lot of our issues by getting that back up there. The other thing is, remember, I would probably disagree somewhat with the Mid-Dell people. Is not they may call it a high power day. Harold taught us this back in 2016 when this was going on. It's all about antenna height, because I can get into the repeater on those bad days just because I got an antenna 20 foot up in the air, and you can do it on 10 watts. So on those days, it's about antenna height. I can run 100 watts through a car. That antenna is not high. It's sitting 4 feet above the ground. Rejection of. Mm-hmm. They changed that repeater out when, Mark? No, it's yeah. So it comes down to, I mean, we would love to sit there and change those out. Yes. I think the thing to remember here is when they changed that repeater out, from my historical research, they changed out because the repeater was having an issue on certain days of having wide background noise, and that people couldn't get in, otherwise known as the exact same problem you have today. They changed out the antenna, the feed line, the repeaters, and everything in between, and did not solve the problem because they didn't know what the problem was. But they spent a ton of money, changed everything out, and we deal with the same problem today.
And in 1985, when I got started on this, that same kind of background noise, same area. We didn't know what the story was back then, but we changed and changed and changed, and even paid the dump truck guy to pull the tower down. So we got a brand new tower. No, I didn't say that. That's not recorded, is it? Oh, shoot. No, they pulled the tower down, which back in the, whatever it was, 80s, late 80s, that gave us all brand new feed line antenna, everything above the ground. Didn't make a change. Swapped out the receivers or the equipment, I think 3 different times. That one, the GE, I think it was, to this one, and it's all been the only thing that's constant is change. It's an atmospheric condition that's out there, and if you have enough signal to get in, you're fine. The guys in Pryor are on the same frequency I am, and I always give them hell for turning their power up so we hear them those days. And the guy that I talked to last laughed his tail off. He says, "I got a 70-foot antenna. Well, I hear you guys more than I hear our repeater. You come in loud and clear here."
Some of the guys got I don't have I push that button and my little camera pops up, then I can be seen. But I'm listening and they know I'm here, but I'm just watching the club meeting.
Got the results of the scan.
Bill?
That was out there, and there was one guy Isadora was the only guy that knew how to work on that thing. And spare parts in the trunk of the car. And it's really iffy because it go out. So part of that motive was to get rid of that old defect.
Yeah.
And the conversion company that we could maintain, could control, somewhere in there, we decide that our speed, PCM controller, which turned out to be not a very good exact, but it's like trouble trying to get it work.
Yeah, there's a variety of those little issues we're trying to work through. We've got some customized boards that we're dealing with no documentation. There's a variety of those things we're working on. So, other than that, what we're working on now, what you're hearing is something we can't sit there and fight. If you'll notice, watch the background level. Since 10 o'clock last night, we were sitting at my QTH. You had about a background about S1 and 1.5. Since that time, it's moved up this morning. When I left up to here, we were sitting around S4, S4.5, and it's moving up. So she's come up about 20 dB overnight. Now, that's obviously nothing that's, I mean, it's one of those things where we're welcoming the solar activity back. It also is a curse at times. So it just kind of floats around. We watch it.
All right, good questions. Thank y'all. Let's move to our 10-meter net. Bill Baker.
Just a reminder of our 10-meter net on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 28.445 upper sideband.
All right, we appreciate that. And I don't see Jim James here, so I'll just put in a plug for the 6-meter net. 8 o'clock Monday nights for the 6-meter net at 50.200. If you've got any way to get on 6 meters, go for it. I get on it. And I'm running a 40-meter dipole. So with a tuner, you can tune almost anything. All right, let's move on over this way. Put on my roller skates. I'd probably break a leg. All right, Mr. Phil is going to talk to us about the other nets.
Okay, where do we start? Aries Net, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Ordinarily on the SCARS VHF repeater frequency. Every once in a while, we play a little game and we do it simplex. Or every once in a while, we may play a game and put it up on the SCARS UHF repeater. The rationale there is to motivate you to be prepared with your station to either operate on VHF repeater, VHF simplex, or UHF. Otherwise, the net controllers are doing a great job on the Aries net. I need an extra net control operator. Randy was one of our net control operators, but his job duties took him away and he can't be there on Tuesday night. So if any of you would be interested in serving as an Aries net controller, you only have to do it once every 5 weeks right now. We have other net controllers. See me after the meeting. I'll get your information and we'll get you set up to be a net controller. And I would appreciate it very much. Right after Aries net, I'll speak for Denny as our gossip net happens on the SCARS VHF repeater. As the script goes, it takes you out of the technical and into the social. So you can rag, chew, and chat and carry on about religion or politics or whatever you want to talk about. It's just an open net for everyone. The third net that we're doing is the morning net, what we affectionately call Mac net, happens at 9 a.m. every morning on the SCARS VHF repeater. Denny and Mike are doing a great job in spite of Denny's voice. Come and join us and rag chew on the MacNet. Occasionally, MacNet comes on, or it's coming on at 9 a.m. in the morning, 6 days a week. Now we don't do it on Sunday. Some of those days are high noise days. And you get on there and you look at the bar graph on your radio and the bar graph running an S9 in noise. My base station radio at home is uses a ground plane antenna that's up 25 feet in the backyard. Ordinarily, I use 10-watt transmit power, and that's plenty. But occasionally I'll get on there and the noise level is high enough, I have to turn the transmit power all the way up to 50. So if you're out there with a bowfang radio in your family room with a rubber ducky antenna, if it happens to be a high noise day, you're going to have trouble checking in. So be aware, be alert, look at the noise level. If the noise level is very high, you may have to get up and walk out in the front yard to use that bowfang radio with a rubber ducky antenna, just because of the atmospheric noise that we can't do anything about. What did I forget?
You got it. No. Don't go there yet. Okay, we appreciate you, Phil. We hope Deanie gets his voice back pretty soon. All right, Peter Laws, the Siren Net.
Oh, that's me. Yes, we have one every day at noon. Some dude named Wayne is the net control today. I don't know I don't know where he's from. Yeah, every day, every Saturday at noon when the cities test, we run a net to make sure that the actual facts on the ground match the telemetry that the cities get back from their sirens. If you're interested in that, go to w5nor.org/siren. And we have maps there, and we have the list of the sirens that are spoken for and various and sundry information about that. Usually takes what, 15-20 minutes, Wayne, roughly. And we,
Yeah, pretty much.
the bulk of the sirens that we cover are in Norman, Norman has 68 sirens. Moore has another 42, 45, something like that. And then we also try to cover Noble and Newcastle. They are not, given the size of their towns, they are not as trying to be polite about this. They're just not as well organized in terms of that sort of thing as the bigger cities are. But we do cover their sirens as best we can and forward the information that we find onto their emergency management people too. And been doing that. How long have we been doing that now? Is it 4 years?
A while.
I don't even know. 17 or 18. Oh God, that's 5 years, isn't it? Well, anyway, yeah. So there you go. Fun times had by all.
All right, good. Thanks a lot, Peter. Yes.
Since I'm the emergency manager and more, I'm one of the recipients of that information. And that information goes in a weekly report that I send to my city manager and to the state. So it's not just to help me. It promotes amateur radio at the state level and at the administration level too.
Awesome. Thank you, Galen. Sorry. All right, Lee, the DMR net.
Every week, Monday nights, 8:15 p.m. on Talk Group 3140. We have the Oklahoma statewide DMR Aries net. And we always try to have a training session every week. Varies from everything. But if you can be there, try it. If you have DMR capability, again, Talk Group 3140. And I want to put a plug in as well. Every week we ask people, to get more information about Aries. It's aresok.org. If you're checking into nets, if you haven't checked into the aries.org website yet, please do so. Need to get in there, put your name in, put your call sign in, put your information in. And at least if you're going to work with Aries, get some information about what it's all about. It's free, all you have to, and you can get training there. So, find a little bit more about what Aries is all about.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it. All right. Peter Laws, wake up again and tell us about the VE report.
We did not have a ham license exam session on the 3rd because of snow. So we moved it to the 10th. And unfortunately, one of the candidates was unable to make that date. And I sent him a bunch of alternates from the other clubs, and I'm not sure. I don't know if he managed to take tests somewhere else. No, I hope he did. Anyway, we did have one candidate, which should be up on the screen there. Up on the screen there. Is it up on the screen? Yes, there it is. I was looking at the wrong screen.
Eyes.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Thomas, KI5 MNC, passed his general exam. If he's there today, give him a big round of applause. He's now a general. And we also processed a renewal for that Wayne guy. Same Wayne guy. His license is going to expire, so we granted him another 10 years.
Yeah,
we can do that at,
another 10 years.
If you don't want to mess with ULS, that's fine. It's not actually hard to do online, and it's free. Or you can come to a test session. We'll do it for you. Also free. Next test session is whatever I put on the screen there. March 3rd is the next one, right in that very room where you're sitting.
All right, we appreciate that.
Still no FCC fee.
That's a good thing. So talk real fast about Amazon Smile.
Amazon Smile. I don't have the number in front of me. I didn't even think of that, or I would have pulled it up. Darn it all. If you go to smile.amazon.com instead of amazon.com, and you designate the South Canadian Amateur Radio Society, Inc., an IRS 501c3 charitable organization, as your designated charity, 0.5% of your purchase will go to the treasurer, and then Larry gets to spend it on his lavish vacations that he takes every other week out of the treasury. It's painless. You don't see it. It comes out of Jeff Bezos' voluminous pockets. Yeah, it's good. We've actually, I didn't have it. I sent it to the executive committee. Let me see if I can find it here. Since 2009, we've dug about $2,000 out of Amazon between the affiliates program and the Smile program. It's painless. It doesn't cost you anything, but it accumulates in our treasury, and it's just let's see here, $2,129.85 since 2009. So it's an easy way to support the club. You're going to buy stuff on Amazon anyway. Go to Smile instead, designate us. You're good to go. It's all automatic from that on.
All right, we appreciate it. Mr. Mark Clayton, gonna talk about something.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick recap on Winter Field Day. We had a fun time. I mean, there was a lot of things going on. It's like an Elmer night during the day. This last one, we had several pieces of equipment blow up and quit, and we had to make changes in a hurry. And we got to play with some different antennas and get to see what works and what doesn't work, which is what you need to do for field day. At the last minute, we didn't have anybody to do CW. The guys that were going to do it pulled out for various reasons, but we didn't have any CW. Phone contacts, they went to town on phone contacts. We had a ICOM 7300 set up with a DX commander out in the field out there. And it worked super. We did 265 contacts with that on 20 and 40. And it worked really good, which says a lot about that type of an antenna that you can just set up anywhere, which is the whole purpose of field day. Digital, we had one system completely fry, and another system wouldn't operate correctly with it with logging software. So we only made a couple of contacts out of the digital. So anyways, learning process at winter field day, I can tell you we're going to be a lot better for summer field day and have backups covered for the other two. Total score on that was with the multipliers, which was 6 for the multipliers, the various ones that we got, was 1,614 points. No, it wasn't that great, but it was fun, and we all had a lot of fun. We had great time, fellowship together. Had lunch on Saturday and dinner, and had a super breakfast Sunday morning. Dave Grizzle showed us how you make a restaurant style breakfast fast, and it was good. And he did great, and we all enjoyed that. But like I said, we all had a lot of fun with the equipment we were trying to repair and work on. And it's an ongoing process, but we'll learn from there. So any questions on field day? We're looking forward to summer field day. It'll be bigger and better. I can tell you that. We'll have a lot more going on, a lot more setups. We'll work on that. And yeah, a lot warmer too. But we had 2 real good days for winter field day. We really did have 2 good field days. So anyway, that's what I got.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice President there. That guy right there will be your president next year. You elected him. All right.
Recall.
Mark Klein is going to talk about the technician class.
SCAR is going to do another technician general class. We tried one 2 years ago, and then a pandemic broke out. I don't know if we were responsible for that, but oh well. February 22nd, we will start. It's a Tuesday night. We will be at Casa de Galen. Isn't that what it's called? Something like that. The Moore EOC is where this class will be at. So if you want to impress your friends and relatives and go up and have a class at the Moore EOC, that's a good place to be. It'll be tech, it'll be general. It will run for 7 weeks starting February 22nd, and we will be ready for a test on April 5th. April 5 is how we do it. It'll be the same cast of characters that ran the class last time. What time? Oh, it's 6:30 to 9. Thank you very much. Chris is my great guy in front of me. 6:30 to 9. We will be running out of that place. It is a great place to bring new people. So if you've got somebody that wants to get their license, it's a good thing to get them through it. If you have already gotten your license and you want to get touched up on it, now that you have the license and you're not panicked and your knees aren't knocking together while you're sitting in class, it's a good place to go look at all the stuff again and learn as you probably should. So Tech General will end up getting there. Yes, Philip. You want to hit it? It's on the west end is where we're going. The Moore's Emergency Operations Center is inside the Public Safety Center. Some people know that as the police station. Park toward the west end. You can park on Main Street. You can park across the street at the bank. Come in the door under where it says courts, and there will be signs directing you into the EOC area. The doors will be unlocked, and there will be signs letting you know where to go. One of these students in the class will be our Assistant Emergency Management Director, so you may or may not see me, but Kevin will be there. Question? Why would it be on Zoom?
No, this is not an online class. This is an in-person class.
Okay, so bring your friends, bring your relatives, bring your enemies. We don't care. Bring your ex-wives, bring your girlfriends, not girlfriends and wives. We've had that happen before in the past. That's not good. That's not a good thing. That doesn't work out really well. So good class. We've had good classes in the past. Please tell folks that you know that may be interested. That's usually where we get the best results, is by people telling stuff that they know. friends that they know. I have a QSL card here that somebody gave me that I think I'm supposed to show that. I'll run it around the room. It's kind of cute. The guy has a picture with his tent and it drew his dipole in on his operations that worked from us. I don't know where he was from.
Alabama.
Alabama. Well, he didn't have that snow in Alabama. Good gosh. So class is there. Life is good. March 5th is the Elk City Ham Fest that's coming up. Your wonderful SCARS folks will have tables available. We will have a SCARS table available. So if you wish to buy, sell, or just hang out at the Elk City Ham Fest, it is a very small ham fest. They will have a couple of vendors there that are always kind of fun, but there's always some neat, interesting stuff. And I meet more people from SCARS at the Elk City Ham Fest than from other folks. So we got a lot of folks that go out that direction. We talked about Green Country coming up soon. That's in April. And for those of you who want to go up to that, that's an awesome one. That's the biggest in the state. And hopefully they're in great shape. I did see some traffic coming out of Hamcation out of Florida that said their traffic, their attendance was very good attendance, that it was on par for what it has been in the past. So I'm kind of using that as a guide to see if the attendance is going to be there or not. We had that one in Enid back in November, and it was very full, very good. They sold out of Hamfest tables. So Hamfest season is coming. Get your tires changed and you're aired up and rotated and all that good stuff. Get ready to hit the road. Is that it? Am I done?
As far as I know, unless you got something else. Galen's got something. Okay.
While we're talking about events, Wednesday, March 2nd, 6:30 p.m. is the annual Storm Spotter training provided by the National Weather Service. If you want to be a storm spotter for the city of Moore, city of Norman, you need to attend. It will be at the Moore Public Library, 225 South Howard, or if you're familiar with Moore, our community center is on the northeast corner at 4th and I-35. The library shares the parking lot to the north. So Wednesday, March 2nd, Storm Spotter training.
All right. And I understand there is no specific sign up sheet.
There is no registration and it's free.
No registration, no cost. Okay. We appreciate that. All right. Real quick, and we're running a little bit behind, but we'll ask real quick. Does anybody have anything to sell? Has anybody been talking any DX? Other than FTA?
Come see me afterwards.
Okay, so as Mark said, thank you to all of you who approved the cost for us to be able to rent tables at the 5 Ham Fest that are in Oklahoma this year. Those tables will be for SCARS members' use. I mean, we'll have some stuff on there, some flyers about the club, this, that, and everything. If you got something to sell, bring it, put it on that table, sell it. You will be responsible for watching it. So don't just throw it on the table and walk away. So anyway, anybody else got anything else? We got a question back here.
I got a question. I purchased 2 name tags, BC, before COVID.
Uh-huh.
So somewhere the name tags are floating over.
Get with Mark.
Well, Mark doesn't know. He pointed
To Rodney?
Okay, I'll get you the number that I gave Galen when he came.
Okay. We will try to locate those things. Okay, Mr. Grizzle.
So low. Can't hear me. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, I got my VA hearing aids in, so I sound real loud to myself. Down at the farmer's market last weekend with my wife and her cousin, we were trying to go to some antique places and all of them we got there and they were all closed.
But we went around, it would be on the east side of the main building. There's a real shady looking, all kinds of antiques and stuff out front. And so anyway, we went in. It's a building that has a little narrow walkway. You can walk through all this stuff, more stuff you can shade grace over in there. But back as you go in to the right, all the way back to the left, very small store. We went in and got to cruising around. And I don't know if the store guy, he got up and left before I could ask him, but there were just tons and tons and tons of QSL cards pre-World War II and World War II and vintage on up. Just really neat to go looking through all of them and all that. But I come across that, thought it something to do on a Saturday at the farmer's market, Oklahoma City. And then it's on a side one. And I don't remember the catch of it. It's on the east side of the main building. In the farmer's market, not in the main building, but in the little deal there. And we entered from the west side. You can enter on both sides. We entered from the west side. If you can think of it, it's in that building somewhere. I'm telling you, there's more vintage stuff in there I've seen in my life. But I come across those QSL cards and there were just boxes and boxes and boxes of them. But it's pretty neat to look at.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, does anybody else have any business for, I started to say the net. Why do I keep doing that? For the meeting. Anybody online? Going once, going twice? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.